Hariza Kwanzaa Facebook family, Habari Ghani. Okay, today is our fifth principle. And what is our fifth principle? It is Nia. Okay, Nia is purpose. Okay, all right. So today it is to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Oh man, I absolutely love that part about restoring our people back to our traditional greatness. But I love also the to make our collective vocation. Okay, so vocation is all right. Thank you, Nubian goddess. Okay, my queen. My queen is out there, Nubian goddess, and that she is. She is definitely that. Okay. To make our collective vocation, our collective, okay, vocation. The vocation is, your job, your occupation. So to make our collective vocation your job, your business, the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Okay, this is like the purpose, if you will, the reason, the existence for. Okay, I love to break words down. I'm a word person. Okay, so we can comprehend, so we could get the direction in which this is going. So prior to, just to give you a recap, we touched on the first day of Kwanzaa, which was on December 26th, was Umoja, which is unity, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Okay, December 27th, we went over Kuji Chagalia. Okay, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. Okay, then the 27th, we went with Ujima, collective work and responsibility to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and solve them together. Okay. Then on the fourth principle, which is on, okay, December the 29th, okay, was Ujama, okay, which is cooperative economics, to build and maintain our stores, shops, and other businesses and to profit from them together. Okay, and now we're on our fifth principle, which is Nia. Okay. uh, it is Nia, my queen. It is Nia. And I appreciate that, beautiful. Thank you. I tell you, man, it feels good to have a good woman in your corner. It's always good to have a good woman on your side. Thank you for everybody that's tuning in on IG. Okay, for those you on IG, I'm going to be going back and forth. For those who just came on, and I'll be talking to our Facebook family as well. Okay, so get ready to dive in. I'm going to be a straight to the point message. Okay, so breaking this down, making it our collective vocation. For the building and developing of our community in order to restore, okay, our people to their traditional greatness. All right, this is one reason why, okay, culture is so important. Okay, it connects us to who and what we are. All right, it's more to it than just a name. Okay, and putting on the garments. Okay, you have to be transformed mentally. Okay, our spirituality, the root word in spirituality is spirit. Okay, so our culture teaches us to work on our inner man. Okay, and we live the way that we think. Okay, so how our inner world is acted out externally in the outer world. Okay, so this is why it's imperative for us to go internally and to work on ourselves internally. So externally, things will transform for the betterment for ourselves, our family, and the village, which ultimately affects the nation. As I always teach, okay, the family makes up the village makes up the nation, okay, because whosoever we're raising in the family are the ones that influence society, which is influencing the village, okay, which will ultimately become the leaders in our government, okay, which will govern us. Okay, there's a proverb that says, when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people mourn. Okay, so it does matter how we are raised. It does. Okay, and the proof is, as I spoke on all these principles, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna encapsulate all the principles that we covered. Okay, and to show you why it's so important. Because if you're not taught at home to love your neighbor, to love your family member, then you can't have unity. Okay, if you're not taught at home to have self-pride, if the parents don't name the child or the children ethnical names, then they will continue to have, okay, the colonizers' names. And what we're going to have is a generation after generation of colonized minded family members who's going to continue to have that same domino effect within the family. Okay, so if the parents are African centered, that means that they will raise their children to be African centered. And then they, in turn, if they're strong minded Africans, let's just be clear, because some people can't take the heat. Okay, some people fold. Some people fold. All right, and then they want to denounce their African heritage so they can fit into a colonized, okay, Eurocentric influenced society. Okay, that's just the truth. Okay, and because some people, they can't take being persecuted for standing up for what's right, and we have to understand that our ancestor Bob Marley, he had a very good concept of that, because it was called Redemption Song. He said, how long will they kill our prophets while we stand around and look? Okay. So somebody has to have some moral courage to stand up and to go against the grain of colonization. Listen, so many of us, we say we're not our ancestors. That is not true. We had warrior ancestors, and it blows my mind how some of us say this and we forget all about Malcolm X. He laid down his life. Okay, the Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. laid down his life. Okay, um, study history. This is why it's important. We lack confidence because we don't know our accomplishments. Look up Shaka Zulu. For those of us around my age, 47, we had a wonderful opportunity for those who were able to watch it in their homes about the story about Shaka Zulu, how he fought against the colonizer and how they gave them that work. All right. They, fought against them, rebelled. Okay. I'm Mende. My ancestors, you know about them. Some of you who don't know about them, I'm going to bring it to your attention. If you watch the movie Amistad, that's my ancestors. My name, Bakari John Boy, is Mende. Okay, they were Mende people. They fought and took over the ship. That is a historical fact. I am my ancestors. Okay? You may not be some of the ancestors who didn't have the moral courage to stand up and fight, but when you are a warrior, don't get it twisted, you are your ancestors. Because Thomas Sankara is the reason why Burkina Faso is named Burkina Faso. For those who don't know the history, okay, it was called Upper Volta. All right, the French had conquered it. But Thomas Sankara, along with our other brothers and sisters, okay, within the nation, stood up and they fought and they took the nation back. Do you understand? So be very careful about you saying that I'm not my ancestors. Because don't forget, historically, you had Toussaint Louverture over in Haiti who fought, okay, and fought the French and won. Don't forget about the Maroons over in Jamaica, and don't forget about the $500 bill that has our ancestor Queen Nanny on the $500 bill over in Jamaica who was a Maroon, okay, whose ancestors came from Ghana. So be very, very, very careful about you saying, well, I'm not my ancestors. Be very specific. I'm not my scary ancestors. I'm not the scary ancestors. But don't ever, ever, ever forget that you had ancestors that fought during the civil rights who lost their lives. So we had to be very careful. We focus so much on the ancestors who tucked their tails and ran, who sat down and didn't say anything. You understand? But it's because of our ancestors that stood up and fought during, I like to say, the human rights movement, more so than the civil rights movement. I get it, I understand. But the truth of the matter is we fought for human rights. Yeah, we fought to be treated simply as human beings, and they lost their lives. They lost their lives. They laid down their life so we can have a better life. So, beloved, for those of you who are ashamed to be African, it's time for you to get delivered from that shame, because some of our ancestors fought. Not only that, some of our ancestors were very intelligent. Okay? How do you think the pyramids were built? How do you think the pyramids were built? Benjamin Banneker is the one that designed the White House. And he also influenced what we know today as the Almanac. Madam C.J. Walker was one of the first female black not billionaires, but millionaires in the United States of America. Oh, we have a lot to be proud of, brothers and sisters. And see, this is the reason why family, that history is so important. The reason why we lack confidence, because we don't know our accomplishments. And how the African gets restored back to our mind is by us understanding how did we as African people get in this disdain state that we're in today. There is no way, if you are an honest teacher, that you can go around colonization. Because colonization is the reason why there's a separation between us as a people. There is no way around why is it that the Africans in America and throughout the diaspora in Africa, who the colonizer came in and colonized us, why we are at the bottom of the meal barrel. There's no way around that, because we were cut off from ourselves and we were cut off from our resources. There's no way around that. That is the absolute fact, that we were not brought over to America or the Americas, okay, as business partners. We were brought over here as the product to be sold. Now, what we must do is to go back pre-enslavement. And there you will find yourself, African man and woman. There you will find your family structure that today in some families have been tampered with. This is the reason why history is so important. See, it's more to it. Listen, this is the reason why. Why do you think that they're banning the books about us? They don't want us to have self-confidence. Do you understand how embarrassing it is for us to walk around and not know exactly what people we come from, exactly what continent we come from in the motherland? Do you know, listen, I don't know about you, but I felt lost before I took my African ancestry DNA test. I went to my elders in my family, and they didn't even know. They couldn't even tell me. So how can we then be restored back to our traditional greatness? Guess what happened? Just like over in Kemet, how Imhotep was known for medicine. Medicine is a science that brings healing to the body. Even helps some people with blind, that having issues with their eyes and being able to see and being able to walk again. Science is a gift, right? Not wicked like those who follow after religion is taught. Oh, these things so falsely called science. It's amazing how science is supposed to be so demonic, but yet science keep your food cold. Yeah, it's called a refrigerator. Science allows you to be able to keep track of time. That's called a watch. Science is how you get transported to work and back for you to make a living to take care of you and your family. It's called a car. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. All right? And so now we must understand that we have to be restored by us going back to our African teaching. Why is it that the only ones that call our spiritual system demonic is those who follow after religion? It's not the African that follow after traditional culture. It's always the ones that's been colonized and have a colonized mind, who is colonized by the colonizer. You will never find, and I know this from experience, not something that Bakri made up. I know this from interviewing traditionalists who held on to their culture. They're the ones who subscribe to our spirituality. But the ones who had bowed down to the colonizer, didn't preserve our culture, who didn't hide the culture, who didn't practice the culture in secret, these are the ones whose family members raised them to be Christian people. Because once upon a time, Christianity didn't exist. You want to know how you know? Because first of all, the root word is Greek. Christianity, Christ, that word, the way they spell it, is Greek. Over in Kemet, it's KRST or KST, somewhere within that abbreviation. And it didn't mean what we know it today for those who follow after Christianity. Which that Christ, that word way predates Christianity that we know today. The word Christ today predates it. And the meaning of it is not the same. But some of us will tune out, oh, the devil is a lie. Oh, he's trying to deceive us. Oh, he's falling away. Oh, he's a soothsayer. Oh, he's a deceiver. Oh, he's a liar. Well, we didn't think that before we were colonized. We didn't have no concept of hell before we were colonized. Let's deal with linguistics. Where do these words come from? Where does fornication come from? How many of you studied that? How many of you study where hell come from? Because they're not African words. They're not African words. So see, let the truth be told, some of us speak on our culture ignorantly, and we speak on it in a colonized mannerism. And that teaching comes from the colonizer. Think about it. Ephah, there's sacrifice. It's amazing how in the Bible they have priests who do sacrifice to their God. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. But Ephah predates that book, though. Yeah. Ephah was around and voodoo was around way before Christianity came along with priests and animal sacrifices. Yeah. But see, when the African does it, because it's not to the European God, it's a problem. Huh? And we have to call this stuff out because the colonization teaching has suffocated, has cut off the life force of the African, and has the African walking around here, has us out of our minds. These things are strategically done to the African to keep us in a losing state of being, in a weak state of being. And this is the reason why a lot of the men, they run from responsibility. Yeah, we're going to talk about it tonight. Because in our culture, in the Mende culture, you have the Pororo and you have the Sandy. The Pororo is the initiation, the secret society of men where they teach you how to be a man and how to take care of your responsibility as a man. And the Sandy is the initiation for the women where the women come together and teach the women how to be women. And this is a lot of our problem because a lot of us are not raised to be in our right minds. Calling each other female dogs, calling each other whores, calling each other the nigger word, okay? Degrading our own selves. That is not the African way. That is self-destructive. And the proof is in our conduct. We are glorifying drug addiction. We are glorifying alcoholism. We are glorifying being called degrading terms. And we wonder the reason why us as African people are messed up in the head in America. We have no self-respect. We have no self-dignity. And this is the reason why it's so easy for the colonizer to mess us up and why they don't have to come into our neighborhoods with sheets on anymore, because we're killing ourselves and we're doing the work for them. Nia. To restore our people back to their traditional greatness. I'm not here for fame. If you ain't get it yet, I'm here for freedom. See, this is the sacrifice of a real man, of a mature man who's willing to fight the good fight. You slap my cheek and I'm going to slap yours back. That's called a warrior stance. Oh, we don't teach that in African spirit. No, sir. We don't teach that in African, true African. That is that Europeans' doctrine. We believe in fighting back. You try to hurt my family, you in for a fight. That's a warrior stance. The man is supposed to defend his family and defend his village and defend his nation. But we've gotten weakened by this gangster rap culture where now we shooting and killing each other. Now, I understand that gang violence existed before that. I'm just saying that it's furthering our destruction and is making our defense weak. This is the reason why men look at women as just sex toys, because it says that bees not ish, but hoes and tricks. Oh, but you want your son listening to that? You want your daughter to be twerking and shaking her butt and her tongue all out? Huh? You want your son to keep walking around with his pants hanging down and his underwear showing? Huh? You think that's dignity? We are so messed up. We think that that's culture now. We call that culture. No, that's foolishness. And this is a part of the reason why women are having a hard time finding a good man and why men are having a hard time finding good women. And you start talking, oh, this ain't grandpa age no more. This ain't grandma. Well, they knew how to carry themselves as women. I ain't saying all of them, because some of them still had horse spirit too back then. I don't play those games. I'm going to keep it real now. But it was more so, it was more of a dignified situation when a woman carried herself like a woman and a man carried himself like a man, and a man was a gentleman and knew how to treat a woman. But these days, we're being taught the wrong thing. And the only way for us to get restored back to our traditional greatness is to cut off these degrading mindsets and stop glorifying the very thing that's hurting us instead of helping us. And we're programmed to run towards those things that hurt us instead of helping us. It's programming. Why do you think we run so much to gossip? Why do you think we run so much to, listening to negative things? And why do you think we run so much towards, fights and, ooh, and yo, and you seen this and oh, huh? Why? We're being programmed to self-destruct. You understand? And the sad part is people tune out this type of teaching. But yet these same people will say, oh, what's the answer? You don't want the answer. Because when somebody tell you the answer, it's a problem. The same, even these gangster rappers, they trip me out. Oh man, we need to come together. Oh, we need to interesting. We do? Well, if we need to come together, you need to stop rapping what you rapping in. And you need to be a better example for these young men and women out here. We are dancing to lyrics with whores and bees and, and we glorifying this stuff with drug use. And we sit up here baffled about, well, why are we here? Why are we in this condition? It's because of what we are embracing that is destroying us. And it's time to reject those things that's destroying us. And we have to get back to moral teaching. And that's not restricted to religion, contrary to popular belief. Because in our African spirituality, it teaches you to have Iwa Riri, which is good character for the Yoruba people. Good character. That's a part of Ifa teaching. Iwa Riri, good character. So for those who are religious and you claim to be a Christian or whatever, and you start talking about us, we wicked and we devilish, you're a lie. And there's no truth in what you're saying. Because we don't teach it's okay to commit adultery. We don't teach that it's okay to rob your brother and your sister and to steal. We don't teach, oh, it's okay to get caught up in all these orgies and do all it. We don't teach that. You're lying. And you don't know what you're talking about. Know the whole matter before you come to a conclusion. Research these spiritual systems before you start opening up your mouth. Because a lot of you even demonize Kwanzaa, and Kwanzaa is not satanic at all. There's no demon worship. There's no conjuring the demons, no none of that. What some of you have been taught them lies you've been taught about your own culture. But I'm not mad at you because I understand what the colonizer has done to our minds. Have us even teaching against African culture, standing up there in these pulpits and all these black Christians. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, praise the Lord. Oh, that's right. Didn't even study for yourself. You know why? Because you was raised in a colonized minded home and they raised you to be colonized. And that's the reason why the colonizer didn't want you to be entangled with your culture, because the colonizer knew that you would be free because you won't be waiting for some savior to come out of the sky. You recognize the power that's within you and the power that you have. Instead of waiting for some mythological character that these Europeans done made up and unserved to the world to keep people in a mental lower state. Oh yeah, yeah, this spirit be answering you. Yeah, this spirit be coming and answering you. Now I want you to think about it. If this spirit was made up, then who are you talking to? Yeah, let's deal with it. If this spirit was made up, then who are you talking to? Because Jesus is not African. I don't know why people keep trying to make him African, because the character was made up. You understand? The character was made up. So why you keep trying to make him African? It's a myth. And the truth is, you don't know what you're dealing with. You think you know what spirit you're dealing with, what you calling upon, what you invoking, but it's not what you think. Contrary to popular belief, our ancestors didn't call. I'm talking about before we got colonized. Our ancestors didn't call on that energy called Jesus, on this force called Jesus, this entity called we. Our ancestors didn't do that. You could try to twist and turn every way, any way what you want. We didn't come over here Christians. Period. And that's the problem with colonization. It has us so attached to these things. Why is it that we walking around here talking about a Easter bunny rabbit, but yet you talking about you don't practice paganism? Let's talk about it. Remember, being restored back to our traditional greatness. You got grown folk running around here talking about an Easter egg. Well, a rabbit don't lay eggs. It births other bunnies. It births rabbits. Where did that tradition of Easter? Have you ever looked it up? Have you ever looked up the tradition, the custom of Easter? How many of you even looked up in the Bible where it said Jesus was born on December 25th? Where is that at? Book, chapter, verse. Since you say you follow the Bible so well, where is it at? Where is it? In fact, some of you keep talking about, oh, we ain't under the law no more, we ain't under grace. Tithing is under the law. You're lying. You're lying. Lie after lie after lie after lie. And in fact, check Malachi chapter number 3, verse number 1 before you before you start going anywhere else. Check it out. Unto the house of Israel. To the house of Israel. Every time you hear this God in the Old Testament talking, always talking to the Israelites, I'll challenge any one of you to prove me wrong. I'm saying this in public. I challenge any one of you to prove me wrong. Who were the prophets talking to? The children of Israel. Who was Moses sent to? The children of Israel. Did he talk to Pharaoh? Did he talk to yeah, he said, let my people go. That's about it. But when you check the messages, return to my commandments, when have you ever heard any of the prophets tell anybody of any other nation to return back to the God of Israel commandments? You know why? Because that God wasn't talking to no other nation. It was only talking to the Israelites, who the commandments was given to was the house of Israel. I'm no Hebrew Israelite either. Let me be clear. I just understand now that book was mistranslated. And by the way, you can't prove that New Testament was translated from Hebrew to Greek. You can't find it. If I'm wrong, send me a link. Show it to me. Show me an archaeological artifact that shows some book of ancient time. It was the New Testament was in Hebrew and it was translated in Greek. Because apostle is Greek, bishop is Greek, pastor is Greek, evangelist is, pastor is Latin, meaning pastor. Pastor is Latin, meaning shepherd, rather. Evangelist is Greek. All those words are Greek. It's not in the African tongue. And it never was written in the African tongue. Okay? So we're talking about restoring our people back to our traditional greatness. And that's the reason why I'm saying this, is because unfortunately we have a European mind because we've been colonized. And this is the only way we're going to get back to being ourselves, is letting go of these European cultures and traditions. Because you'll reject Kwanzaa, but you'll practice Christmas. You'll practice Easter. That have nothing to do with us. Some of you celebrate Independence Day. Check the history of Independence Day. First of all, look at the history of it. Check it. Look at the year of it. We were still enslaved. In 1775, 1776, we were still enslaved. They were celebrating freedom from one another. It was the British, the English fighting the British. Okay, come on, man. Check the record. Check the record. And we're so messed up in the head, we walking around with red, white, and blue on with stripes. Oh, happy Independence Day. Our ancestors were still enslaved. But you talking about happy Independence Day. And this is how I know that we as a people are not paying attention in history class either. Because if you were, then you would know that it had nothing to do with us. We were still in the field. We were still enslaved. Check what year the Emancipation Proclamation came out. Check that. And when that came out, we still didn't get the word till 2 years later. That's why you have Juneteenth. And even then, they came up with segregation. They still made us sit in the back, go all the way up in the bleachers at the movies. Oh, you can't drink from this water fountain. You got to drink from this water fountain. We were still treated like trash. But some of you got so much love, like as if though we got some love from this nation, and it took our people to literally die to fight for the municipal rights we have today. But we get so emotional and we act like it's still so great. Don't fall for the trick. Because just last year, and I will keep talking about it until I leave here. Last year, we just got the Crown Act. And 2022, the Crown Act, we still fighting against discrimination of wearing our own hair. And you're fooled by this. This is the land of the free. You're fooled by that. Why is it that our people get killed right on camera and they didn't do anything wrong, and these people walk off? Or they don't get the appropriate sentence that they should get. And you still think that. Do you know that the United States of America in 1945, listen to the year, fact check, 1945 was granted a permanent seat on the United Nations? Do you know the United Nations is supposed to stand up for human rights? Now, how could America, who during that time, you know segregation now, if you know your history and timeline, you know during 1945, we were still segregated. But yet America received a permanent seat on the United Nations that's supposed to stand up for human rights. But some of you who claim to be indigenous, right? And you supposed to get these sovereign rights. Remember who gave you those rights. If you send up paperwork to the UN, guess who got a seat in the UN? The United States of America. See, this is the reason why they don't want you to know your history. And then some of them will look us in the face and say, we don't owe you nothing. Yes, you do. You made my ancestors work for free. Yes, you do. You stole our land and you ain't give it back. Yes, you do. You had them sign on X's and knowing they couldn't read. And they signed away their land. So all these mad descendants of these races, yes, you do. You get mad all you want to. And if you were so righteous, you claim to be Christians, but they're a bunch of freaking hypocrites. Because we can read now. Yeah. And we know nothing that they're doing is Christ-like. And I may not be a Christian, but I know how to read. And what they're doing is not Christ-like. But they want to get mad at the freedom fighter when we stand up and call their behind out, and then they end up killing some of us. Oh, but they're so righteous, right? And if they're so upright, then why do they teach their children to hate us? When are you black folk going to wake up and understand that these people are nobody to be looking up to? When are you going to understand that? When are you going to stop worshiping them like, you know why you worship them like they your God? Because they put a white Jesus in front of you and they put a white God in front of you. And some of you don't know the role that is playing on your subconscious mind. Huh? Oh, you think it's by chance that the only time the laws was changed is when a white man did it? Oh, man. Who signed the Emancipation Proclamation? Who signed the Civil Rights Movement? The Civil Rights, come on, man. The Civil Rights Act of 1964. Who signed it? A white man. And you think that's by chance? Who's the ones who rule, who have the most wealth in this world? The white man. Whose language is spoke the broadest as a secondary language in this world? The white man. Huh? This is the reason why some of us bow down to them like they're gods, because we don't check their moral compass. I just want to be like them. I just want to talk like them. Because you know why? They made us think that we're uncivilized, that we're dumb, that we're stupid, that we can't think, but you praising them like they're your God. And they're the reason why you all messed up in the head right now. They're the reason why we're living in the ghetto right now. They're the reason why our people are still living in rat-infested and roach-infested apartment complexes. If they're government owned, right? You telling me they don't got the power to do that? They don't got the power to change nothing? Aren't they collecting our taxes? We talking about being restored back to our traditional greatness. You know the way that's going to happen? When we stop worshiping the European people. And we stop being so in love with their culture and rejecting our own and start embracing who and what we are and stop being afraid to name ourselves our names. So if this is the land of the free, then why are you so scared of taking an African name? Nah, you know, those of you two who want to stand up and you want to fight so much for America, you so patriotic, then why won't you take an African name then? Why are you always trying to be white? Because subconsciously, you know that some of them are not going to accept you. And you scared. You scared. Because you scared they won't employ you. You scared they won't support you? Some of you scared, oh, I can't get no 501c3 now. Oh, I can't get any grant money now. Oh, some of us are a bunch of sellouts, man. Some of us have no backbone. And if our ancestors was like that, we wouldn't be where we are today. Some of us are too comfortable. And when they use you up and throw you away, Candace Owens, yeah, when they use you up and throw you away, yeah, then you're gonna recognize that you're African. Soon as you start speaking some truths. Oh yeah, yeah. As soon as you say the truth, you're gonna recognize that you're African. No matter how much money you have, they're gonna try to shut you down. Because you know why? They don't want us to have no power. They want us to be under their foot for the rest of our lives. And when are we gonna figure that out? Aren't you tired of being at the bottom? Aren't you tired of running away from who and what you are? Aren't you tired of trying to be somebody that you're not? Aren't you tired of always being rejected because of who and what you are? Aren't you tired of somebody always imposing their culture and shoving it in your face and trying to make you to bow down to them like they're a freaking God? Aren't you tired of them abusing their authority? When are you going to get tired? When are we going to stop it? At what point are we going to stand up and have some moral courage and boldness to stand up and say, no longer will we succumb to your culture? We are African. We are not European, and we don't want to be. I don't see why I want to be. They raped our ancestors. They lynched us. They bombed us. If you don't believe it, check Tulsa, Oklahoma, Greenwood. They took over Rosewood too. And never, ever fixed the problems that they caused. I'm getting sick of it. I'm tired of it. It's just the bottom line. I'm sorry. Well, if they so sorry, then give us back what you owe us. If you so sorry, give us back our land. If you so sorry, pay us reparations. Give us what's rightfully ours. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody being lazy. I'm sick of that crap. Majority of us get up and go to work 5 days a week. Some of us 6 days a week. Enough is enough. They do owe us. And that's the bottom line. I love you all. Thank you all so much for those of you who hung in there. Okay, today was Nia. To make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Okay, and I believe that we have a right to live in healthy conditions, to have access to good food, to live in safe neighborhoods without drug infested and gang infested and crime infested environments. We have a right to live like decent human beings. We have a right to good wages. We have a right to take care of ourselves and take care of our families. We have to stand up together. And that's the bottom line. Peace, love, and power to all the people. Pray to have a blessed rest of your weekend. I'll see you all tomorrow. We're going to touch on Kwanzaa, to do always as much as we can and the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. That's going to be our 6th principle on tomorrow. Love you, Facebook, tuning out.